Coming up on KUJH News, we look at the support for Israel from President Biden and across college campuses.
More to come, we look back at how Lawrence is ringing in the fall season with a handcraft harvest festival.
And stay tuned to learn key ways to keep your account safe from online hackers during Cybersecurity Awareness Month.
Live from the studio in Stauffer Flint at the University of Kansas, you're watching KUJH News.
Hello and welcome to KUJH. I'm Claire Decatur.
I'm Dylan Vanderveen.
It has been 12 days since Hamas fired rockets on southern Israeli towns, one part of a larger attack on the state of Israel. The UN estimates that 1,300 Israelis and more than 3,000 Palestinians have been killed since the war began.
Israel responded quickly, cutting off supply routes to the Gaza Strip, leaving the area civilians without power, fuel, water, and other basic necessities. President Joe Biden has made it clear that the United States will back Israel, a stance he reiterated during his trip to Tel Aviv yesterday. Biden made the trip following hospital and school bombings in Gaza City on Tuesday. We start off today with team coverage of the war in Israel. Jackson Reed spoke with a KU student directly affected by the events of the past week.
Grace Gom has a live report of anti-Semitism and increased security at KU and in the city of Lawrence.
We begin today with Abby Lord in the studio today, taking a look at campus reaction to the war. Abby.
Thanks, Claire and Dylan. While the president maintains a solid pro-Israel stance, the same level of support can't be seen nationwide, particularly on college campuses. Harvard University has seen dueling protests between pro-Israel and pro-Palestine supporters over the last several days.
Sky 5 over the scene of a pro-Palestinian protest in Cambridge, a confrontation captured on camera. Marchers walking several blocks, crossing a bridge and making their way to the campus of the Harvard Business School. That's where they held a so-called die-in. A group of students from Israel holding up their flag as pro-Palestinian protesters marched through.
Me standing with that flag meant that I was standing up for what's right.
Raphael Marek says his mother and sister are living in a bomb shelter in Tel Aviv. He says Israel's existence shouldn't be called into question by anyone.
These demonstrations are not about peace. They're not about empathy. They're not about solutions. They're about erasing one people and replacing it with another.
Another student telling us he's sad for the people in Gaza, but puts responsibility squarely on Hamas.
The war that Israel is conducting is against the terrorist organization Hamas. It's not against the people of Gaza or against the Arabs or even against the Muslims.
He says it's frustrating to see some student groups calling for the destruction of Israel.
What is going on is a humanitarian crisis. It's not a political crisis. And this is what our message is. We are not against any other people besides the terrorists of Hamas.
Clearly, emotions are running high as this war continues and the violence takes its toll in mounting casualties. Dylan?
Thanks, Abby. Other campuses across the country have hosted candlelight vigils. Some of those vigils intended to honor thousands of lives lost. Still others calling for unqualified support of Israel. Some similar scenes have not played out at KU, but doesn't mean people aren't responding to the current events, but are choosing to respond in their own way.
But here in Kansas, our job is to do it in our way. And our way is not to spread violence, not to spread hate, but to spread light, to spread joy, to spread goodness, kindness.
As Abby reported, elsewhere demonstrations actively oppose Israel's declaration of war, with protesters marching and calling for an end to what they describe as nearly a century of oppression. Sentiments echoed by members of KU's Middle Eastern Student Association.
Finally, Palestinians have been able to fight back. After being oppressed for 75 years, you can only sit there and take so much pain and torture and torment from another side until someone finally speaks back.
While many people are responding to events happening at a global level, for others, what's happening is being taken personal. Jackson Reed joins us in the studio with one student's story. Jackson?
Thanks very much, Claire and Dylan. I spoke with Spencer Krelitz, a junior student at KU who has been to Israel many times. He says it's been tough to watch what's happening there.
With the war taking place overseas in Israel, it's hard to imagine how it can affect somebody nearby you. But at the University of Kansas, students have to look no further than Spencer Krelitz, a junior member of Zeta Beta Tau, a historically Jewish fraternity. Krelitz spent a year in Israel playing lacrosse for the Israeli national team. I sat down with him as he discussed how conflicts occurring so far away can have such a big impact everywhere.
Exactly, this is it really weighs hard on all of us.
The very real cost of this conflict is personal for Krelitz. One of his lacrosse teammates was killed in combat last weekend. Krelitz declined any further comment on that loss. Dylan, Claire?
Major cities across the U.S. have ramped up police presence in response to events in the Middle East, with many agencies assigning extra security and patrols near sites such as synagogues and Jewish community centers.
In Lawrence, there was already an effort to increase police patrols near Jewish centers in the city and on campus following the discovery of anti-Semitic graffiti near the intersection of 19th Street and Naismith Drive last August. Grace Gom joins us live with details on how security has ramped up on KU's campus due to the events in the Middle East. Grace?
Thanks, Claire and Dylan. Prior to last week, there had been concerns surrounding anti-Semitism on campus due to graffiti found on August 31st. That graffiti spray painted on a sidewalk near 19th and Naismith. I spoke to KU senior Lindsay Hyland about growing anti-Semitism and how it has had an effect on her as a member of the Jewish community.
I felt very unsafe because that symbol just represents horrible things that happened in our history, and I think when students spray paint stuff like that, they don't understand the meaning of what it actually means. They just think it's funny for some reason. Yeah.
Highland says there are resources available for anyone who needs them via KUHallel.org. For KUJH, outside of KU Hallel, I'm Grace Gom. Back to you, Claire. Dylan?
We're going to take a short break.
When we return, we'll take a look at early voting in the upcoming elections. Stay with us.
Coming up on KUJH News, I'm Blake Ullman reporting from the studio, and I'm here to tell you about early voting, which has already begun here in Lawrence.
There. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy. What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop. Why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Can I tell you another one? So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it. What's Beethoven's favorite fruit? Banana. What is a boxer's favorite drink? Fruit punch.
Always stay humble and kind. Don't expect a free ride from no one. Don't hold a grudge or a chip, and here's why. Bitterness keeps you from flying. Always stay humble and kind. Yeah.
There. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy. What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop. Why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Can I tell you another one? So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it. What's Beethoven's favorite fruit? Banana. What is a boxer's favorite drink? Fruit punch.
Always stay humble and kind. Don't expect.
Welcome back to KUJH.
After Tuesday's voter registration deadline, it's officially election season here in Kansas, and early voters registration has begun.
KUJH's Blake Ullman is here to break down the upcoming local elections.
That's right, early voting here in Lawrence started yesterday and will run through November 6th. Anyone registered to vote in Douglas County can go to the elections office weekdays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. to cast their ballot. Voters here in Lawrence will pick the next 3 members of the Lawrence City Commission and vote to fill 5 school board seats. In recent election cycles, young voters played a big part in the eventual results. Groups around campus are hoping for that to be the case again in the upcoming local elections.
So in big elections like presidential elections, I mean, it's huge because you get more participation, students are more interested, it's a presidential election. But we also want to encourage them to look at local elections. So we try to get them in the habit of registering, voting, and being part of your community.
A majority of seats on the Lawrence City Commission will be filled on November 7th, giving the election increased importance. Voting advocates across KU's campus say voting is crucial because of the large impact local policies can have on the community.
So, you know, they will say, well, why do I care who's on the city commission? Well, that's the one that I focus in a lot. You should be, because city commission has a lot to do with student life in any community, but especially in Lawrence. So you want somebody representing you well.
Here at KUJH, we put together a voter guide on our website for more information on the candidates and how you can cast your ballot here in Lawrence. You can find it at tv.ku.edu. For KUJH News, I'm Blake Ullman reporting here from the studio. Back to you, Dylan.
With only 19 days left before the election day, you still have time to cast your ballot ahead of the November 7th. From election to autumn fun, Lawrence celebrated the fall season by bringing back the Autumn Handcraft Harvest Festival. The Harvest Festival allows entrepreneurs to show off their unique creations, tents and knickknacks, from bobbleheads to homemade candles blanketed South Park between 11th and 12th Street. Many Lawrence residents think this is a great way to grow a sense of community.
I believe it can bring more camaraderie, better, a lack for a better word, togetherness.
One entrepreneur says events like this are her best opportunity to get her product out since she does not have money to own her own store. She added that Lawrence has done a great job at putting events like this together and hopes that they will continue to connect its arts and crafts community. All of this autumn talk is making me wonder if we're going to start seeing some fall weather. Ashton, how's the weather looking?
Hello, Lawrence. We are taking a live look at campus right now. Behind me, you can see that we have lots of clear skies here across campus. Most of those clouds that we were experiencing yesterday are now clearing out to the west of us. As you can see behind me on this radar, a lot of them are now clearing out of our way, giving us lots of sunshine today, warming our temperatures up warmer than we were yesterday. Temperatures right now are in the 60s for most of the central Midwest plains. A little bit cooler up to the north, still hanging on to those upper 50s right now. But as the day goes on, we're going to hang on to this nice northwest wind, about 5 to 10 miles per hour for most locations, giving us that light breeze for most of the day. If you're heading out to classes, though, one thing to keep in mind is that we are in allergy season still, with grass and pollen at a medium level. So if you are heading out to class, good idea to grab that allergy pill as you are heading out. But good news is that temperatures are warming up for today. Yesterday, we didn't even get out of the 60s, staying right there around that average mark. However, though, today and for the remainder of the week, we are warming up into the 70s, and we are going to take a look at that class planner, a glance at the forecast for game day for softball and baseball, and then we'll talk about these warming temperatures coming up. Back to you guys.
And I'm excited that here it's cooling down here in Lawrence. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Did you know 1 in 4 women and 1 in 9 men experience intimate partner violence? KUJH's Libby Johnson has more resources that are available here in Lawrence.
The Willow Domestic Violence Center helps Douglas, Franklin, and Jefferson County by providing shelter, services, and support to victims of domestic violence and human trafficking. These services are free and confidential. Adrienne Nunez has worked at the Willow since 2017 and says that many assume physical violence is the only form of domestic violence.
There are people, who never get physically harmed by their partner, but they are being psychologically and verbally and emotionally abused. They're being gaslit. They're being, intimidated. They have fear now. They've been isolated by their partner.
Beyond providing housing programs, a 24/7 hotline, and other support systems, the Willow also has a prevention-based team. Nunez and her team work on presentations catered to a group's needs.
She reminds the public that abusers don't typically show their aggression at the beginning of a relationship.
I really want the people who are potentially going to be abusers or who are the abusers, or just doing abusive behavior, I want them to be the ones that really recognize that stuff and go, oh man, I'm doing that.
If you are experiencing emotional, mental, or physical abuse, you can call the Willow Center's 24/7 hotline at 785-843-3333.
In 2004, the President and Congress declared October to be Cybersecurity Awareness Month. As our lives become more integrated with technology, the threats of cyber attacks keep us on our toes. KUJH's Abby Lord has more details on how to stay safe on the internet.
According to Get Astra, there are more than 800,000 cyber attacks per year. Every 39 seconds, there's a hacker attack, and 4.1 million websites have malware at any given time. Students are most likely to click on spam emails or get phished, with an estimated 3.4 billion spam emails sent every day. KUIT's Jake Kaufman, the deputy chief of IT, explains what the worst-case scenario could be for the university.
Attacks is choose your own adventure when it comes to that. So the worst case scenario that you can think of is probably the worst case scenario that could possibly happen.
In order to protect yourself from cyber attacks, here's a few tips. Have a strong password that no one can guess. Stay away from sketchy websites and do not give your personal information to these websites, as well as add an extra multi-layered security that will add that second extra layer of protection.
On the other side of KU at the engineering school, this summer, the Board of Regents approved the Bachelor of Science in Cybersecurity Engineering. The program will go in-depth to protect the world from hacking, ransomware, and phishing. Eric Perrins, the professor and chair of the Electrical Engineering and Computer Science Department, explains how excited he is about the new degree.
And there was just only a handful of places nationwide that offer this kind of a degree. And so this is definitely the right move.
There has been a lot of interest in the new degree, according to parents. Technology is ever-changing and protecting your data is easier than ever with these few tips. If you want to be more armed with tools, there's even a new degree to help you accomplish the best data security. For KUJH, I'm Abby Lord.
If you want more information about the new cybersecurity degree, email eecsinfo@ku.edu.
Coming up after the break, Aiden Peslow joins us live in the studio to bring you the latest in sports.
Yeah, stay with us.
I'm Jack Dennebaum, and coming up on KUJH News, I visit with the Eudora High School cross-country team as they get ready for regionals.
There. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy. What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop. Why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Can I tell you another one? So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it. What's Beethoven's favorite fruit? Banana. What is a boxer's favorite drink? Fruit punch.
Always stay humble and kind. Don't expect a free ride from no one. Don't hold a grudge or a chip, and here's why. Bitterness keeps you from flying. Always stay humble and kind. Yeah.
Welcome back to KUJH Sports. I'm Aiden Peslow. Over the weekend, Kansas students got to enjoy their fall break, but that was not the case for the Kansas football team. The team traveled down south to Stillwater this weekend to take on the Oklahoma State Cowboys. The game got off on the wrong foot as Cowboys found themselves in a 14-point hole early in going. Kansas then battled back to take a lead in the second quarter and took a 1-point lead going into halftime. Now, both teams continued to go back and forth throughout the entire matchup, but the Cowboys would get a clutch fourth-down stop to ice the win for Oklahoma State. The Jayhawks move on to 5-2. With their bye week approaching, they look to regroup and prepare for a tough matchup against Oklahoma. Now, some positive news within KU Athletics. The men's basketball team is ranked #1 in the preseason AP poll. The Jayhawks received that honor for the 4th time in school history and the last time coming in 2018. Now, when being ranked in #1 in the preseason, Bill Self's team have not made it out of the second round of the NCAA tournament. Now, with the second round loss still stinging from last year, Self and the Jayhawks look to turn things around this season. Now, continuing through the athletic program, Kansas volleyball hosted Oklahoma this weekend and swept the Sooners in 3 sets. Kansas volleyball received the number 14 ranking in this week's AVCA poll and will take on TCU in Fort Worth this upcoming weekend. Now for high school sports, we saw an upset of historical proportions last Friday as the Chesty Lions of Lawrence upset the previously undefeated Free State Firebirds 31-24 in the city showdown. Now Lawrence was trailing by 3 late in the game, but scored 10 fourth quarter points to force overtime, where they would get the road on the win. Sticking with the high school sports, Eudora High School cross country team is gearing up for regionals with one goal on their mind: make it back to state. KUJH reporter Jack Dinnebein visited the team after their meet last Thursday to see how they are feeling heading into regionals. Jack?
The Cardinals cross-country teams competed in the Frontier League meet at Lexington Lake Park Thursday. The girls' team placed second overall, while the boys' team placed fourth. Head coach Jim Bernard says the meet was a good opportunity for each team to size up the competition ahead of regionals.
I think more than anything today was kind of a measuring stick meet. Just kind of need to see where we stack up against the league schools, because a lot of these league schools are going to be at our regional meets next week.
The second place finish for the girls team snapped their streak of 4 straight league titles. Senior Sydney Owens says a 5th straight title would have been nice, but the team has higher ambitions.
I think that as much as it's disappointing that we didn't get that 5th straight title, I think this isn't what we've been working towards. This isn't our main goal. Our main goal is that state race. So as much as we wanted it today, I think we've got to focus on the bigger picture in that state.
Owens was the league runner-up, only behind junior teammate Hannah Keltner, who finished with a time of 19:28.81. Keltner says it's a great feeling being the league champion.
It feels very nice. It just shows me kind of the hard work I've been paying off. Shout out to Sydney, great training partner. Me and her went 1 and 2 today, and I'm really proud of her and our team.
On the boys' side, senior Zach Arnold led the way for the Cardinals as he was the league runner-up with a time of 16:46.84. Arnold says he liked what he saw from the boys' team against some fierce competition.
We've got a lot of tough schools to run against. I mean, our league is no slouch, that's for sure. I think I saw a lot of good things today. I think we ran together pretty well, and just always, using each other to push ourselves. I think we did that just fine today, and I'm pretty optimistic coming into regionals.
The girls' team will be looking to defend their regional championship and head back to state to defend their back-to-back state titles, while the boys will be aiming to make state for the 5th straight time at regionals on October 21st. I'm Jack Dinnebein reporting for KUJH News.
Thanks, Jack. After the break, we take a deeper dive into what scholarships are available for KU students. Stay with us.
Welcome back. Thanks for that sports update, Aiden. Sad day to be a Jayhawks fan this weekend. Wanted to see us go bowling maybe for the 2nd straight year, but unfortunately did not see that happen. However, on a good note, KU scholarships are now open.
Hey, that's right, Dylan. With conversations about student debt happening at the national level, students are increasingly aware of the high cost of higher ed. But in 2022, only 27% of students at KU applied for the thousands of dollars of available scholarship money. If you're a journalism student, good news. Scholarship applications are now open for the 2024 school year. Frances Lyons, Assistant Dean for Student Services, says there is really no reason every student in this school shouldn't apply because there are so many different opportunities out there.
The scholarship committee works really hard to provide a match for all of the scholarships that we have available. So I cannot think of a scholarship that hasn't been used in recent years, because most of the criteria we can find a match based on what's out there and what the donors wanted for each of those.
You can apply online at ku.academicworks.com. The deadline to apply for these scholarship applications will close December 15th, the last day of finals.
And it's too bad I didn't know those as a freshman, Claire. I probably did, just honestly didn't pay attention. We're gonna send it back over here to Ashton. Ashton, how's the weather looking?
We're taking a more local look at our temperatures now here in Kansas. Our temperature here in Lawrence right now at 62 degrees. Most locations around us are hanging on to those low 60s. Paola at 63, Olathe over there at 64. Our temperatures are going to warm up into the 70s today though. 74 degrees will be our high with partially sunny and breezy conditions, with that wind gust getting up to 20 miles per hour. Something to keep in mind if you are on campus today. We'll be hitting our high around 3 p.m. when those afternoon classes are letting out, but we have lots of sunshine at 1 p.m. hanging on to those upper 60s, and then throughout the day gradually warming up with that northwest wind hanging out with us for the day. So we are warming up nicely, and then this evening we are dropping into the 50s. It will be chilly if you are out there. Definitely want to bring a jacket. 57 for our low tonight with calm winds and 0% chance of precipitation. Tomorrow though, getting even warmer up into the upper 70s, 79 degrees. So it will be a relatively warmer Friday for us with the light west winds coming out of the northwest. This is a look at that temperature trend for us. We are trending about 5 to 10 degrees above average for most days this week, as our average is typically at 69 to 70 degrees. Many days of next week hitting into the upper 70s though, so it will be a relatively warmer week for this October. So if you don't have plans this weekend though, you may want to get out and enjoy that nice temperature at the softball game on Friday. They are playing at 5 o'clock. Temperatures are in those upper 70s. Lots of sunshine for Friday, and Saturday the baseball team is playing as well. Lots of sunshine there as well. This is a look at the future forecast behind me. We are staying clear here in the central and Midwest plains for this week, not tracking our next chance of rain until the beginning of next week on Monday leading into Tuesday. So if you are outside enjoying these nice temperatures, maybe take a look around and you might notice that the leaves have began to change color. We are in the partial leaf change for this time of year right now. We will be hitting our peak season for leaf change into next week. So these are our temperatures for the next 7 days, in the 70s for many days this week, tracking our next chances of rain there on Monday leading into Tuesday. Lows hanging out in the 40s, so we are making quite a jump from our highs to our lows. This is the time of year you will need to be dressing in those layers. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Ashton. Now all we need is some good weather for Halloween, right, Claire?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So who doesn't love puppies, Claire? The Crawford Community Center held a puppy therapy event called Paws for Pups.
Our very own Carson Shea went to join others in relieving stress and had a chance to speak with some students at the event.
Today I'm at the Crawford Community Center to check out Paws for Pups, which is a puppy therapy event set up by the Health Education Resource Office. Let's check it out.
So Paws for Pups is just an event that the Health Education Resource puts on. Anyone's welcome to come. They bring therapy dogs from Loving Paws in Lawrence, which is an animal shelter. And so volunteers from that animal shelter bring dogs, and there's typically 3 to 4 dogs in groups, and so people just kind of go around and pet the dogs.
The event was a hit amongst KU students, as over 100 came by throughout the evening.
I just think it's a great event to just relieve some stress, get to pet some cute pups, and just take a break from studying and doing homework and all that.
Paws for Pups is much more than just puppy therapy. Bailey Mowry is a KU student that works for CAPS, and she filled me in on how they are involved at the event.
Well, this is a collaboration with CAPS and Paws for Pups. So I'm with CAPS, and my partner and I are an extension of CAPS, and we are Hope at CAPS. So we are the mental health peer listeners on campus, and we provide mental health resources, which is CAPS and all of our other services here on campus.
Paws for Pups will return at various other locations later in the semester, so if you missed out on this one, be sure to check it out in the coming months.
Those puppies sure were cute. For KUJH News, I'm Carson Shea.
Thanks, Carson. Looked like a great event and seemed like students were able to benefit. I know I would benefit from petting dogs.
Oh, me too.
That's going to be all we have for you guys this week. Thanks for tuning in to KUJH News.
Be sure to come back next week for the latest on news, weather, and sports.
Also, be sure to stay tuned to our social media bonus and behind-the-scenes content.